Zero DTE option contracts are extremely popular, and a lot of people get into it because moving in from, let's say, doing a full-time job to going into something like a zero DTE, it makes sense. It makes absolute sense because, hey, on a job, you go in today, you make money at the end of the day or at the end of the week, you get a paycheck and you have some recurring income. Now, we also get attracted to zero DTE because of the natural attraction to making money faster, right? We all want it today and even yesterday. Why not? Why do I even have to put on even a trade? Why can't it just be in my pocket? Well, that's what zero DTE attracts. Now, if you still have that humble mindset behind it saying, hey, you know what? It's still a lot of work and there's a lot of issues and problems behind it. It's tricky. It's complex. There's a lot to learn behind it. And if you still even go in with that type of mindset and you're willing to put the work and effort into it, there's still a lot of risk behind zero DTE. And, over the last decade of teaching and coaching options trading, I've still seen people where they blow up their accounts because they use short duration or zero DTE option contracts, and they don't understand the risk and what can happen to their account. So I think in this video, it's very wise and important that we go in and take a quick peek at understanding zero DTE and how people really blow up their accounts. So maybe that way you can avoid it and give you some other things to think about as you go into these trades. So let's take a quick peek and a look at a general example of zero DTE. And when we look at something like this, here's what I've got is I've got in this case, a 1 DTE option iron condor. Because when we look at a zero DTE right now, the market is closed. So I'm looking at the 1 day and I've built myself an iron condor. And this is what I really have. Now, in this case, what we're doing is we're risking about $245 here, or sorry, we're looking to make $245 on $760 of risk. So the way that we do this is kind of the width of the spread less the credit, and there's kind of our risk. So we've got a $10 wide, so that's $1,000 of risk, and our credit is about $240. So we take that away, and that's how we get the $760. So all in all, we're risking about $700 to make $245, and all this sounds good, but the problem is the curve, the gamma curve that we've got here is a little bit more accelerated, right? Because if you go in and do something like this on a 30-day, what you'll find is this curve is much flatter. And that flatter curve gives a little peace of mind to price. Now, the downside is when you go longer, well, if you go with a 30-day option contract, the theta decay is kind of like this. Whereas if you go to a 0-day, you're going, pew, it's fast, it's quick, it's immediate. And that's why a lot of people love zero DTE options. And again, there's huge attraction and benefits. You get real-time results. You get to see what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. However, there are these additional risks that go with it. Because of all of that benefit, there's that fast price risk and price movement, that gamma curve. So when you go into zero DTE and you start looking at this, a lot of people are blowing up their account because the amount they risk over here is quite significant. So I'm not saying that these trades are bad. What I'm saying is that people don't understand the risks that go with them. So eventually what happens is people start winning because these do have a high success rate. Depending on the trade, it could be 60 to 90%, depending on the delta that you choose, and you're winning them, you're winning them, you're winning them. You're winning them time and time again. And if you just do the put side, you could just start there. But the issue here is that what we have is we have a bigger risk to reward ratio. And when you have something along these lines, eventually, as people grow larger and larger, the number of contracts starts increasing. So when you start thinking about the number of contracts, you got to be a little bit more careful because you've been winning and winning time and time again. But now that number of contracts starts to pick up speed. And eventually you're actually risking maybe 7,000 or 10,000 or 20,000. So here's what typically happens. And by the way, we do a bunch of different courses. So if you're interested in some of the courses and classes, reach out and let us know. Check out our website. So what happens here is when we go into the iron condors, and we got something like this. So at the beginning, our we're trying to make about, let's just call it $200 on $800 of risk. Okay, so we're making $200, we're making $200. Then we start picking up contracts. We're starting to make $400. A month later, we're pulling in, $800. So now we're building in income, and it all sounds good. And sometimes we have losses, where we're losing maybe $600. It's all within range. In a normal market, it's all within range. So we're making 800, we're losing, 600, we're losing 400, we're making 600, we're making 800. we're losing 200, we're breaking even on a few trades, but all in all, these losses are in check, but that account continues to grow larger with time. And now you're, pulling in $1,200 a trade or $2,000 a trade. So now you're making 2,000, maybe you're making 2,500 because you went bigger. Maybe you're losing 1,500. But again, the losses are in range. The issue starts to happen is when you've been doing this, and I've seen it because I get phone calls from it from time to time. People do it and they take maybe a $50,000 account and they grow it to $250,000. But then what happens is that $250,000 goes down to like $75,000 and sometimes even $30,000. And I've seen this happen because what happens is they ramp up the number of contracts without actually hedging and adjusting for what they're doing. Because the larger the account, the more difficult it is. You need to watch your tail end risk because now you've been doing it for so long, you might not have had any external outlier moves or tail end risk or events that are huge or nasty that go against you. So you might not have sized up. And not to mention, as that account grows, now you're creating the snowball effect where your size and the size you're trading is bigger and you haven't had issues. But now when you're going to have an issue is when you're actually trading larger and larger. So now you might be putting on $10,000 that you're trying to make, right, of risk. But remember, the risk to make, to be able to do that is it's almost a 4x difference. So risk to reward is about a 4 times difference because we're trying to make 200, risk of 800. So it's a 4x difference. So we're risking maybe, we're trying to make 10 grand, but we're risking maybe 40 grand. Okay. Maybe we're risking even 60 grand in some cases. Well, all of a sudden now you've got one trade that goes against you and maybe you don't lose the full 60, but you might lose 30. Okay. So now you lost 30 grand. And think about all those trades. Now, all those little trades that you did, you just took it on one single trade, on a 0-day trade. You just basically blew up a bunch of the other little small trades that it took you to get there. So it's important that you really be careful with the sizing that you go for, because as you keep growing and growing, you need enough number of occurrences to build up the account level to be able to level up to the next stage. So what you want to really do is build up a little cushion. Okay. As you start going, build up a cushion here. So that way, when you go to that next level slowly, that if you have a nasty tail end loss, it doesn't wipe your multiple steps down, right? You don't fall down the stairs multiple times. You need to have that cushion quite a bit. So that's what you want to look at. Now, there's other ways to kind of hedge off for this tail end risk. And as you start getting larger in those cases, so let's say we go in and we start doing something like, let's go with 50 contracts. So now we're starting to ramp up the number of contracts and we're risking 38 grand to maybe make 12 grand. And that might seem, okay, that's reasonable, or maybe, hey, that's too big for you. But the point is we're starting to size up. The problem is still that if we get a nasty move, we just blow out $17,000 worth of the account. And although if we're making money, it sounds good. You might be able to say, well, I can handle that. Well, sometimes you just can't stop out fast enough. And it becomes nasty. At certain levels, what you might actually want to do is if you take this iron condor and actually go to custom, you might actually want to start carrying some tail end risk. Now, you could do this on the put side and the call side. And what you'll do is maybe start hedging off these iron condors more with a couple of extra extra calls on the long side and puts on the side just for some tail end insurance. And what that will do is that if that account actually moves, or this iron condor moves to that tail end risk, like let's say we really just get a nasty move in this case, and I'm going to put a price slice right here. We're going to take this price slice and just drop it down to 54.60. My risk is basically $5,200. Now, yes, there's some theta decay and other things that could happen, but let's just say we're down about 5-6 grand. Okay, now that's with the extra hedge or insurance. But if I go in and get rid of that, okay, that problem is actually $26,000. So what do you want to lose? You want to lose $26,000 or you want to lose $6,000? So that's what that does, is by adding these extra tail end risks, insurance, you can add a few extras as you start going into larger sizes. You probably might not do as many on the call side. You might just do 2 or 3, or, just watching that tail end on the call side, simply because The call side is usually less aggressive, but sometimes it could be a problem because if the market keeps crashing up, it does happen. Sometimes it does do that. But in a lot of cases, you might want more insurance on the downside. But this way, you're more insured that if you do get a nasty crash, you're hedged off. So this way, what you can do is what happens is that when you go in and you're starting to bring in your money or income. So let's say we've got money coming in. Let's say it's $2,000, 2K, 2K, 2K. That now when you're losing, you're not losing the 10K. You might be actually only losing, 3.5K, or let's just call it 3K or 4K. So it's a lot less nasty than a 10K. And you're trying to just cut your losses down on that tail end risk. And that's the whole point behind it, is that this is how people blow up their accounts, is they don't account for sizing up as they keep going and growing, and they don't budget for the tail end risk. Now, there's other ways to also mitigate and curb the tail end risk. You can also do things in longer dated durations. So let's say we go in, and you saw one here at the beginning, actually, because I closed it off just because I was prepping the video. But you could go in and let's just say we go to like a 21 day and we get something around maybe a 30 delta, 21 delta, somewhere over here, and we buy a vertical right here. And we could buy verticals since we're selling iron condors rather than having the tail end risk there. What we're going to do is, notice this is expiration. When I go over here to expirations and I can go to 2 expirations, this new line has formed. So that is my second expiration there. And what we can start doing is adding it in. And this is basically just having additional verticals in there on the tail end risk. And the amount of verticals that you get will depend on, hey, how much tail end risk you want. Now, this will require many more contracts than buying a single, because a single is more reactive and this is longer dated. But what it will do is, if you get a longer dated one, what will happen is that you will be able to actually use this for multiple iron condors over the next week or two. I'm not saying go out and buy 20 of them and start doing it. You might buy 1 or 2 and sell 1 or 2 iron condors. Then you do another 1 or 2 and you sell 1 or 2 iron condors. Then you go to day 3. Maybe you don't need any on that day because you've already had a few tail end risk items. But that's exactly the point, is that once we get enough contracts, what you're trying to do is balance out the same thing. So this way, when it sells off, this T+0 line is smooth, because that's really what you're looking for, is you're looking for this iron condor that we've got, that right here, that tail end risk is curbed. And depending on what tail end you're trying to curb or reduce, is how many you'll want to work on. Now, you could work on both sides. It is more expensive if you work the put side and the call side. You might decide, I just want the put side, but you could just, eliminate it a little bit. Or you could go in and say, okay, I want to eliminate it a little bit more. So you can determine how many contracts you want. But that's another way to start thinking about it. So now you're thinking about layering it multidimensionally. Anyways, this hopefully just gives you a little bit of ideas of how people look at a higher level, maybe on iron condors, 0-day SPX iron condors, and how you could think about it. Obviously, there's more than one way to trade these things. There's hundreds of different ways. And with iron condors, the reason people also blow up their accounts is you've got risks on 2 sides. It's not just, when you're selling put verticals, you got risk on one side, but now you've got risks on the call side and you've got risks on that put side. So because you've got risks on both sides, it can be a problem because you got to work both ends. And not to mention, your risk to your reward is, the risk is a lot greater than that reward in a lot of cases. So if you get the tail end move, you can blow up the account. That's where in some cases other people prefer other 0 DTE strategies like a butterfly or at the money verticals, those types of things. But again, that's for a whole different video and discussion. Anyways, I hope this helps, gives you a little insight in all these things. Check out some of our classes and courses if you're interested in getting into things deeper. We do a lot of live stuff there throughout the month, and really get into the nitty gritty of all this stuff. So anyways, links are in the description below. Reach out if you have some other questions. I can also check out what you've been doing and maybe give you a little bit of a learning path as well. Other than that, enjoy the rest of the week ahead. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.